Get rid of my vacation? Enjoy replacing me, because I'm gone. Little backstory: I used to work at a family-owned manufacturing company known for its unusually generous benefits. If you stayed over 25 years, you earned 8 full weeks of vacation plus 2 weeks of personal time. For a company with more than 250 employees across 3 shifts, this was unheard of. And then there was Jimmy, a grizzled old guy who had been with the company since he was 20. He was 63 by the time this story happened, didn't care about corporate nonsense, and had a unique skill no one else did. He knew how to build a specialized, patented electronic control module from scratch. Only he and one higher up in the office knew the exact process. One day our longtime owner announced he was selling the company to a large corporation. He promised things wouldn't change. He lied. The new corporate owner showed up and immediately gutted our benefits. Maximum vacation was slashed down to 4 weeks for everyone, no matter how long you'd worked there. Personal time was completely removed. Anyone with more than 4 weeks banked had to use the excess before December 31st or lose it, and the company refused to pay it out. They then fired several office employees close to retirement, including the only person who knew Jimmy's job. And in their brilliance, they removed the long-standing rule that vacation needed to be approved in advance. Now you could just call in and take it. They made one more mistake: they pissed off Jimmy. He was beyond livid. Corporate also knew they desperately needed him, so they hired a young trainee for him to teach. Obviously, the plan was to train his replacement. Jimmy didn't argue. He didn't complain. He simply called in on the first day of the trainee's arrival and announced he would be taking all of his PTO immediately. All 10 weeks. He had the time, and now the rules said he could. Luckily we had a decent stockpile of the parts Jimmy made, so upper management didn't panic. Yet. For 10 weeks, Jimmy went on interviews, found a new job, and quietly started working somewhere else. Then the day he was supposed to return came and went. He didn't show. They called him. No answer. They sent someone to his house. No Jimmy. On the 3rd day he finally called the plant and calmly resigned. That's when everything exploded. Because now they had no one, literally no one, who knew how to make the most important component of the entire product line, and it was patented by the original owner, so they couldn't outsource it or easily reverse engineer the process. Corporate panicked so hard they ended up calling the original owner out of retirement. They begged him to come teach new hires how to build the module. When he learned what they had done to Jimmy, to employee benefits, and to longtime staff, he was furious. He told them he'd teach them, for a $1 million contract. They paid it, because if they didn't, they'd have to shut down production entirely. Jimmy didn't miss out on that money, he never even had the option. He left and happily said screw them as he started his new job. Years later the update rolled in. The post went viral, and people kept asking what happened afterward. According to those who stayed, the company eventually went through a massive restructuring, especially after employees threatened to unionize. Benefits improved. Toxic managers were fired. And Jimmy? He eventually returned. The company practically begged him to come back, on his terms. That included reinstating every benefit he lost and removing the 2 higher-ups who had caused most of the problems. 2 weeks after he returned, both of those managers were walked out of the building. Jimmy reportedly smiled and waved at them on their way out. The original poster ran into him at a bar and showed him how viral the story became. Jimmy, 2 beers in, just laughed and said, "Those idiots didn't know who they were messing with. They sure as hell do now." And honestly, he wasn't wrong. Corporate wanted to mess with people's vacation time. Instead, they lost their only specialist, spent $1 million fixing their mistake, and ended up begging the same man back under better conditions. That's malicious compliance at its finest.